Hello everybody, welcome back. It's JudiciousFire, and I am here with the new hero, Cinder Matron. And we are here to give her a review, suggest a few builds, and basically quantify and qualify whether or not this hero is a good addition to your altar. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's keep hero reviews like this going. Let's take a look first at what she does. I've got her maxed out as high as you can possibly go. Skill level 15, destiny level 100. She's going to do a tremendous amount of damage to up to 10 units in a straight line in front of her. Now that is a limitation. She will only hit those that are directly in front of her in a straight line. This will happen every 3 seconds. She has a high critical rate, so a high ability to do a critical strike. Should be said before we go any further in her skill description, there are 3 kinds of crit in this game. There's crit, C-R-I-T, and that is your likelihood to perform a critical strike. Higher that number, higher your likelihood that your hero is going to make a critical hit. We have crit damage. Crit damage is the amount of damage that's done once that critical hit occurs. We have crit resistance. Crit resistance is our hero's ability to avoid being hit with a critical strike. So if you attack a hero that has a higher crit resist than your hero has crit, you're not going to perform a critical strike. Vice versa, if you have a very high crit and your enemy has a very low crit resistance, you will perform critical strikes. How much in terms of damage is based on the crit damage that your hero is able to put out. So those 3 work in tandem with one another. Okay, so she has a high crit, high likelihood to perform a critical strike. When she does a normal attack, her crit damage increases by 1.5 times. So the amount of damage that her crits do get a bonus or a boost. She does more damage that way. She gains immunity to stun for 4 out of 6 seconds. Critical hits from her skill attack and her basic attack will reduce the damage that she takes by 70% for 4 out of 6 seconds. So she gets a nice damage reduction for 66% of the time that she's out there fighting. She gets a health restoration for about 45% of her health at that time. 45% HP heal. And she gets energy. Energy increased by 60. There's a 6-second cooldown, and this is operating for 4 seconds. So it's basically like every 4 seconds she becomes a really not faster, but stronger, more reliable, self-serving, survivalist version of herself. She gets a crit damage boost. So this is a hero that relies on performing critical strikes. Without critical strikes, these things that we've listed can't happen. And if we have a hero with very high crit damage, but low crit, we won't be performing that damage because the crit never took place. Let's jump to a different hero. Let's jump to my Valen. Okay, here we are with Valen. The 2, Cinder Matron and Valen, I don't think that you can't help but compare the 2. I think they are very, very similar. Here he does a cross-shaped area of attack. Okay, she does a straight line. When he deals a critical hit, he gets a health gain. He gains more attack. He has a bigger crit rate. His crit damage is 1.5 multiplier, just like hers is. He relies on crit. Without crit, none of this stuff's going to happen. So I gave him Vigorous Fury as a way of increasing his crit likelihood. When he is going to crit, I gave him Brute Force because I want extra damage when the crit happens. For equipment, I gave him Holy Conviction to keep him alive. to give him extra damage reduction, a better healing process when there's healing taking place. And for traits, I gave him all crit. Let's take a look at something else. Okay, take a look at these random heroes I'm picking out. Look at that crit resistance, 3667, 3437, 3667, 3437. Stop at Valen, 3437. So let's say the average hero has about 3500 or so crit resistance if that hero hasn't been augmented with traits and given crit resist. Our crit has to be far higher than that crit resist number. Now, in the case of Valen, who has all crit, you can see that he's at 4967. So he will crit. And this has been a change that has recently occurred in Castle Clash. They upped the crit resistance. Now it looks like with this newest update, they brought it back down a little bit again. So he does have the possibility to crit. Let's jump back to Cinder Matron. Okay, with Cinder, I took the same logic. None of these things in her skill description are going to be occurring. None of the important things. Unless she's critting. Feel the same way about Valen. It's one of the few heroes that I have crit on. So I go with the Vigorous Fury. When she's going to hit, let her do even more damage than she's already designed to do. Find those things that your heroes do well and accentuate them. I gave her a Holy Conviction for that extra damage reduction and an extra healing process, which she's already putting out. This will accentuate that. And in terms of equipment, I went all crit. Let's take a look at her crit number. Okay, you see she's at that magic number as far as Valen was concerned. She's up at that almost 4,400 crit. And the way that heroes have now been changed in terms of their crit resistance, she will crit. And she will do a tremendous amount of damage. I think that a hero with like this would serve very, very well with a pet that has either dodge or accuracy, even health. I think perhaps accuracy would be the most important. I'll come back to that point in a second. Let's take a look at a couple of things that she does and discuss those. I test all brand new heroes in Ordinary 1-1. It's a very long board to walk. I do this to see if the hero can auto-proc and exactly what kind of auto-proc that is. Cinder Matron can auto-proc. So she does not have to have, she doesn't have to be under attack to be activating her skill. She doesn't have to be attacking. She just has to reach full energy and then she will activate her skill and begin to fill up again with the use of an Empower insignia. I've placed an Empower insignia on her. Take a look at the bad guys on the base, the little troops, and take a look at what she does as she walks the board. She just activated her skill. She just activated it again. You see 2 troops are alive. Do you see? Number 1, the bad guy's got to be right up in front of her in that line of fire in order to take damage. She's not a global attacker. 2, when she does fire, it does have a very thin width. A building directly to the left or to the right isn't going to get hit. Let's do it on a more populated board. Okay, let's try right about here. Okay, you see it didn't take out that northern tower. Didn't take out that back gold vault. Still that gold vault's not getting hit. The building or the enemy has to really be directly in front of her. Let's jump back to Cinder again. Okay, we switched back to the crit build. Vigorous Fury, Brute Force, all crit traits, Holy Conviction. Let's see how she does against this non-damage cap demon up here and see what kind of damage she can put out. She's hitting into the millions. She does get stunned up every once in a while. She doesn't have total stun immunity. Okay, so she does, a bunch of million attacks. basically what we can conclude. Okay, let's take on some bases. Let's take on Handel's base. Throw her out there and see what happens. Only going to hit things that are in that direct line. Here she is up against Dove. Gets smoked. Let's continue on. Okay, let's go up against Maxi LFDR's base. Let's throw it towards Rambard. Okay, gets smoked. Okay, Cousin Blob's base. We took out Brute Force. We put in a Sacred Light for extra damage reduction, extra health. Already getting a big health bonus from the Vigorous Fury. Put on a pet that provides dodge and healing. Let's give it a try. Oh, she gets wrapped up in a Boreal Fox attack. No, she shrugged that off. She made it through it. Okay, she's going to go up against Walla. She hit Walla. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. Walla might have very high dodge. Seems to be at a bit of a standstill here. Oh, she took a big strike. Yeah, I think she's out. She's out. Cinder Matron suffers from the following problem. The problem is this. In order to get all of these things in her skill description working well, you have to build her with a crit build. Now, if you do that, you will find that you're not hitting heroes because those heroes have a high dodge and your Cinder has very low accuracy. So you have the capability to do crit damage, but you have the inability to actually hit the enemy due to your low accuracy. If you build this Cinder with damage reduction and make her a survivalist, you will find that she doesn't do enough damage to be effective in any way against the enemy. If you choose to build Cinder to create damage against the enemy, a killer Cinder, you will find that she doesn't have enough damage reduction and sustainability to live for more than a few seconds. She is a hero that, kind of like a root in the ground, has spread out in many different ways. It's not good for heroes in Castle Clash. Castle Clash heroes should be one way. That way you can pinpoint what they do best and make that even better. She can do many different things, but I don't think any of them very well. And the riddle of her build is this. Once you solve the riddle, you found a hero that becomes very, very ineffective, either due to lack of accuracy, lack of damage output, or lack of survivability. And all three of these are limitations, in addition to an auto proc that is only effective in the general area, and an attack that is only effective in a straight line ahead. I would say Cinder is one of those heroes that, unfortunately, and it always hurts me to say this about a hero, but it is unfortunately a hero that we're not going to have many uses for in Castle Clash. The damage output, even on a killer Cinder, would be of very little use because many of our heroes are either damage capped, and the majority of our game modes feature damage capped demons and uber monsters. She herself has no damage cap. She herself has no ability to fight the long battle. I would put this hero at average at best. Perhaps there will be a game mode later in Castle Clash where crit and the ability to perform massive crit strikes, where that becomes an option, where that becomes something that we actually try to do on our heroes. But as of yet, I would put her pretty much as a rather, not going to say useless, but a hero that lacks multiple uses and not one that I personally would go out of my way to get. So an average hero at best, another hero for the altar. Maybe we'll be guarding our altars in the months to come until they introduce something in a game mode that makes her really, really special and shine. I hope the game is treating you well, and I hope that you are enjoying the new update. There are 2 heroes in this new update, so please expect another hero review in a short time. Thanks a lot, and happy clashing.